Okay, we now get down to the penultimate superheat of the weekend. It's juniors. Let's have a look at your starting grid. It's an all-British front row with Cameron Nelson being the leader after the ranking after heats on 141 points. He's joined by Jacob Ashcroft, who scored 122. Kai Clark and Boris Maximov, row 2. Thijs van Wijk and Max Sidursky line up on row 3 as we got the 2-9, I think that's the 2.99 Lucas Sells due to start 29th. Looks to have gone off on the right-hand side of the start-finish straight. So we've then got on row 4 Jack West and Noah Janssen, Martin Lischner and Ryan Gandor representing Slovakia and Canada, completing the top 10. Vlad Tomenchuk and Ryan Boguino, row 6. Due to have Kajvic starting on the inside of row 7. May not start again like we had in the superheat earlier. Thomas Verheyen on the outside of row 7. Asmi Heiser and Dave Stevens, row 8. Row 9, Ryan Kivitsbosch and Rick Corporal. Ben Jamie Berger and Lars Lambers ran at the top 20. With Lieke van Berkel, Jim Bach, Nuden Engelsman, Philip Wisniewski, Matthew Sormetre, Alexander van Meeuwen, Bran van der Weken, Noah Neumann. Lucas Sells hopefully may still be starting 29th with Lendruers and Jort van Ekelen completing the 30, due to start complete what will be more than likely a 30 driver grid. So the field starting to line up into formation ahead of a 9-minute plus an additional lap race. So let's see how it all pans out over the next 10 or so minutes. The drivers make their way out of the final corner. Nelson on pole, Ashcroft alongside. Revs rise, lights are on, lights are out first time, and it's the scramble towards turns 1 and 2. And Cameron Nelson holds on to the lead. Jacob Ashcroft left a little bit high to dry. And was that him? Well, there was one around. I think also at that point, Kai Clark might have just sprung into the race lead. And Boris Maximov is off. The 2.30 from Buvin Power. So he's one that went off on the exit of the runoff area. He's trying to push the cart unassisted. He's now going to lift it up by the front fairing as Cameron Nelson looks to have kept a hold of the race lead. As the field makes its way through into turn number 9. As the second place driver runs a little bit wide. Going down into turn 10 and gets a snap on under. Oh my goodness me. Nelson goes off. Also in there was Thijs van Wijk. Somebody else has just gone off. 2.80. Thomas Verheyen has gone off. There was someone else that went off at the same point on the circuit. And we got yellow flags on the corresponding marshal post. So the leader went off, now leading Thijs Stevens. And through on Kai Clark goes Jack West for second. Max Sidursky in the 2.97 rounds out the top 4. Vlad Tomenchuk, Ryan Gandor, Cameron Nelson, Martin Lischner, Ryan Boguino, and rounding out the top 10, it's Germany's Noah Janssen. It was like a domino, it was the dominoes were toppling as they went through turn 10. And the 2.80 of Thomas Verheyen got some snap-on understeer and it pitched him left. So coming up to 7 minutes to go plus an additional lap. And it just shows that sometimes the luck will be on your side and then Lady Luck will have a way of saying, no, it's not your time. And that's exactly what just happened. So Dave Stevens leading the way. And Dave Stevens started 16th on the grid. in this superheat, and he's leading. Very much echoes Arthur Lehouk in the KZ2 Heat 1 yesterday, from 15th on the grid to finish as the winner. And there is the 2-1-4 of Ryan Gandor, trying to close in on Noah Janssen, who's actually overtaken him for 8th position. There's Mathieu Saumaitre, who's made a comeback through the field. Lars Lamber's just behind, along with, I think that's Martin Lischner, the Slovakian in the 298, running with Kilian Kraft's operation. And then also see the colours of GKS Lemons Power just behind. Looks to be the 258 of Alexander Van Meeuwen, who started 26th. So there have been more twists and turns in this race than the never-ending story. But Jack West is getting a wriggle on. He's closing in on Taze Stevens. The 268 is now P2. Swiderski, Clark, and there is Cameron Nelson, who's now up. Well, I think he's actually behind Vlad Tomenchuk, just in front of him, as Kai Clark was trying to look up the inside through turn number 6 on Max Swiderski, the 3rd on the road. Nelson has got past Tomenchuk for position. That's P5, the driver that was the leader after the ranking after heats and started on pole position for this super heat. So just over 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the timer for the juniors super heat. We'll have KZ2 and KZ2 Masters after this, before we go to the lunch break. And it's getting a bit fruity there. Oh, Amati Saumaitre sides his way with precision up the inside of turn 4 on Noah Janssen. That was an absolutely sterling move by the 293 from France. So that's P7. And Vlad Tomenchuk is not too far ahead in the 236. Youngster representing the United Kingdom. Jack West was within a second of the race leader, Taze Stevens. Now that gap has expanded to over a second. The gap has pendulum swung again between the top two. There they are. There's Stevens, there's West. And the 268 making a welcome return to European competition after doing a lot of miles back, a lot of kilometres of racing and testing over in the United Kingdom. Jack West has got the bit between the teeth and the fire lit in the belly. And I know for a fact that Taze Stevens has been in juniors for quite a couple of years, a good at least 2 to 3 years now, and is one that you really have to be on your wits about in order to try and pass. As the late Murray Walker once said, it's one thing to catch somebody, it's something completely different trying to pass them. But with just under 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go, another lap in the books, and West is less than 3.5 tenths of a second behind him. Behind Stevens, coming down the start-finish straight. If West was within 2 tenths, he would be in the optimal slipstream window to slingshot past Stevens into turns 1 and 2. Oh, Jack West tried to turn the kart in. The back end responded otherwise. And all that hard work that Jack West has just done to close to within 4 tenths of a second of Taze Stevens, he's got to do it all again. But the problem is he's got 2 minutes and 10 seconds plus an additional lap. And that could have, if that mistake had gone any worse for Jack West, that could have put him quite clearly in the clutches of Max Swiderski in the 297, who's running P3. So let's see how much time Jack West has lost. So Taze Stevens across the line. Jack West has lost 1.6 seconds as a result of what's just happened. Now there is a bit of a free-for-all coming out of the final corner, led by, that is going to be Martin Lischner, with Lucas Sells up the inside of the Slovakian. You've got the 2-1-4. That's Ryan Gandor from Canada in 11th. As Max Swiderski has now got the 2.67 of Kai Clark from KR Sport right with him. Through turn 7 off the Europlan. Into the sweeper at 8. Clark doing a very sensible thing of just mimicking what Swiderski is doing. And then he finds the opening at turn 9. Clark through for P3 with just over a minute still to go, plus 1 lap. Great work there by the young Brit. So across the line goes Dave Stevens, Jack West holding station in second. Bit more KR Sport colours in third with Kai Clark, Max Swiderski and Cameron Nelson. Over the past few moments since he had that off at turn 10, has been clawing that time back. But not by small increments, by quite big increments, I might add. So we are now effectively on the penultimate lap of this race. Tay Stevens started 16th. Now leads. This is how you get yourself as high up the order as possible. If you get a win, it's going to be even better. Timer has expired. We're now going to go on to the final lap of the race. And there is Cameron Nelson hustling behind Max Swiderski. Stevens puts us on the final lap. West in second, Clark in third, Swiderski fourth. Nelson trying to look up the inside through turn number 12. He's going to try at turn 2, and he makes it stick. Matthew Sormetra, Noah Janssen, Lars Lambers, Lucas Sells, and the recovering Jacob Ashcroft, who was turned around at turn 2, now up into 10th place. And Cameron Nelson has bolted away from Max Swiderski. He's about 8 to 10 kart lengths away at the very least. So it is going to be the case that Tay Stevens, who's got a couple of karts just up ahead, is going to come out of the final corner and winning the junior superheat from 16th on the grid. From the Netherlands, it's Tay Stevens in the 282 that does the business when it matters at this point in the competition. Jack West was so close, but a slight error cost him the opportunity of a win, but still a great P2. Kai Clark and Cameron Nelson makes it 3 Brits in the top 4. Max Swiderski rounds out the top 5, ahead of the likes of Noah Janssen, Mathieu Sormetra, and quite a few others. But there is your race winner. He's had a lot of work to do this weekend as Tay Stevens, and has actually been the person I think might have done potentially the most overtakes so far in the junior Rotax division this weekend, as everyone now will be on the slow down lap and head to Park Fermé and scrutineering, go on to the weighbridge as we wait for the results for this junior superheat. So Stevens wins by a second and a half ahead of West, Clark, Nelson, Swiderski, Noah Janssen, Mathieu Sormetra, Lars Lambers, Lucas Sells and Jacob Ashcroft ran out the top 10. Martin Lischner, Ryan Bourguignon, Alexander Van Meeuwen finishes 13th, having started 26. Good run there. Ryan Gandor and Vlad Tomenchuk complete the top 15 with Thijs van Wijk, Bran van der Weken. You've also got Thomas Verheyen, Ryan Kivitsbosch, Noah Neumann, Jim Back, Philip Wisniewski, Len Druers, Rick Corporal, Asmi Heiser, Nu Den Engelsman, Ben Jamie Berger, Jod van Ekelen, and unfortunately, a non-starter from Kajvic, obviously, after the incident yesterday, Boris Maximov out with 10 laps before the finish to go.